Yo, what's up guys, welcome back to another video. This is a reaction to USA versus Europe memes. This should be a lot of fun. I mean, these videos always typically are just, you know, light-hearted humour. But we're going to check this out. Hopefully you're going to enjoy, hopefully you're doing well. And let's jump into this video.
Punching a wall in the US versus in EU. Europeans when they see Americans. No free healthcare. Europe is asleep. These are called chips. And these are called... No, they're not. We are not asleep. I feel bad for you, said Europe. I don't even think about you at all,
Fair.
said America.
Valid.
Americans when it's 90 degrees outside versus Europeans when it's 90 degrees. Who even uses Celsius?
I think
like, how
when it says Europeans there, it probably means Northern Europeans and Brits and Irish people. Because to be fair, I mean, Southern Europe's hotter than anything. It's probably very comparable to like, I'd say maybe like California. Maybe like Los Angeles. It's probably a little bit colder than Los Angeles, but I'm talking about like minimal 1, 2, 3 degrees in like the summer. Like I went degrees, man, it was hot. But if you're talking about the UK, this is facts.
Europeans when it's 90 degrees. Who even uses Celsius? Like, how extra? Places which use Celsius versus Fahrenheit. You guys are extra. Medieval Europe versus medieval Europe in movie/documentaries. Europe. Americans naming cities. Europe. New city name. The most expensive room per night in Europe versus America. Traveling to a different country in a movie starter pack. USA, Mexico, India, Canada, South America, Scandinavia/Eastern Europe. Grass in USA versus grass in Europe. 25-year-old European versus 25-year-old American.
Bro, I swear, I'm never going to stop thinking this. Americans are older. Like, when we're the same age, Americans are older. Whether it's like college teens in the US, you just seem older. Yeah, like you get married, you're driving your big SUVs, you got a big house at 25, you're looking like you're approaching 40. Obviously, this is not relative. I don't think the look thing's as there, although I do think Americans just look older when they're younger. Not in like a bad way, you just look more grown up. But, this is so true.
25-year-old American. I still can't believe Americans don't call car parks car park. What? Is that where you bring your car on weekends so it can play with other cars? No, it's where you park your car. Almost like an area of land. A lot, if you will, for parking cars. A parking lot. A car park. 100 acres of pizza are served in the US every day. Who the hell measures pizza in acres? USA. How Europeans see Americans. I've got to embrace the flag. I've got to sniff the flag. I've got to lick the flag. I've got to wash the flag. I've got to date the flag. And I've got to be the flag. People who leave their phones set to military times are war criminals. How do you look at 405 and go, wow, I can understand that. Bootlickers, what's next? You gonna join the army? Recruit me? Americans be like, okay, I can't count past 12 actually. If I have a medical emergency, don't you dare call an ambulance. You better Uber my butt to the hospital because we are not about to pay $5,000 for a ride in the Wii U wagon. Everyone outside the USA laughing nervously. What? Hey Canadians, have fun at school tomorrow. Hey Americans, have fun paying your healthcare. Stop guys, we're friends, remember? Children, behave, else mother shall have to give the pair of you a bollocking. You couldn't beat 13 states, let alone 50. Lol, Australia doesn't even exist. Aussies are just spicier British people. What are flavorless British people? Just normal British people?
Wow.
What are Americans? Cheesy stuffed British people. The British keyboards have a special pound key on their keyboards. How do you hashtag? Hashtag is over by the enter key. Don't you worry your little butt. What do American keyboards look like then? Oh, as an American, I can confirm this.
I can't even lie, this is quite a cool keyboard. I mean, I know it's not real, but I'm assuming there's someone on this planet that has a keyboard that's like this. I'm assuming there's multiple people actually that have got the American flag imprinted on their keyboard, and it actually looks quite cool. Like with the space bar, that looks sick.
As an American, I can confirm this. European kids getting ready for another school year.
Oh.
American kids getting ready for another school year. Rural town in the... I hate this word, bruh. Rural town in the US. A policeman is approaching you in Europe versus them approaching you in America. To be honest, Americans are so funny.
I mean, you say that as... I mean, Eastern Europe, I feel like the corrupt cops will be there. So it's definitely not going to be all good, but... I get where it's getting at here.
They're like, OMG, there's a concert near my house. It's like a 3 hours drive. And Europeans are like, what? A 3-hour drive? Are you kidding me?
Too
I'm
much.
not going to France for that. Australians crying in the distance. Invent a new sport. Spread it globally. Be bad at it. Invent a new sport. No one else plays it. Declare world...
Bro. Oh, man. It's just the pain of being a sports fan. Although today is the day. The Euros. We're going to get to the final. It's just true, though. I'm going to be honest. I mean, I feel like Britain, for example, or England, I'm going to say England, we're like a jack of all trades of sports. Like, we seem to be one of the best, this is Britain, one of the best countries in the Olympics. But now talking about England, one of the best football teams, one of the best at cricket, one of the best at rugby. But we're never the best at anything. The US, they're the best at, obviously, the Olympics. No one can really debate that because they always win. And then a lot of sports that are based in the US are the best at. It's just true. It's perfectly put.
Championship. An American pickup in Europe. Why is it so fat? The American who thinks that America sucks is moving to Europe. The European who thinks that Europe sucks is moving to America. Europe.
Goddamn.
Americans are so uncivilized and violent. Also Europe whenever someone scores a goal in soccer.
So
it's
true.
football. To be honest, it's kind of funny how so many Americans are convinced that every house over like 10 years old has a ghost. This house is 100 years old. People have died in here. Like, okay. Yeah, but in Europe, when they're like, someone has died here, they mean like 4 generations have lived peacefully and passed of old age in this home. In America, someone died here is like, some dude locked his mum in the basement and she starved to death. People in Northern Europe with 12-degree weather. When Americans complain about heat, Europe, I'm in my 30s and don't have a car. We don't care. Get the bus. USA, I'm in my 30s and don't have a car. If you speak to us again, we will call the police.
Bro, when I first mentioned that I haven't drove before, and I don't drive, people were like, what? Like, it was like, this is like probably like 2-3 years ago, but I didn't realise at that point how big the driving culture was. I don't know how I didn't know, because it's just a well-known thing that America and driving a car is just, it goes hand in hand. Like, you turn 17, bang, you're driving. But yeah, no one really, like, when I saw like the replies to that, I was like, fucking hell, it's like a big deal over in the US. But I think it's a lot easier to pass a driving test in the US as well. Like, in the UK, I think it's a lot more in depth. But that's me getting my excuses in. I shouldn't give excuses for that, to be honest.
US sports fans. Mix us together in the crowd. It's all good. European fans. Me, an American, trying to chum up with the Europeans. The Europeans. 20-year-old American boys. Mom, can I drink a beer? No, you are way too young. 15-year-old European boys. Dad, I'm getting a beer with the boys. Can I join? Americans, when Americans make fun of the United States. Americans, when Europeans make fun of America. Europeans to Americans. Europeans to Americans when they need military support. How Europeans think of Americans.
That's so true. I love that.
Europeans to
We're best friends again, you know, just want a bit of help.
Americans when they need military support. How Europeans think of Americans who have a carry license. American chocolate. You think you're better than me. European chocolate. I am better than you.
Yeah,
Americans
come on, it
be like,
is.
I'm looking at myself in the mirror. Americans be like,
I'm gonna go watch a war movie.
Americans be like,
I'm gonna go eat an orange.
Americans see a tree rodent and go,
Look, a squirrel.
Americans be like,
Give me a glass of water.
I'm laughing at that, bro. I don't care. I get laughed at for how I say water and all that stuff. Come on now. Look at a squirrel. I'm gonna eat an orange.
tree rodent and go,
Look, a squirrel.
Americans be like,
Give me a glass of water.
Europeans. I can't believe Americans don't use the metric system. Americans with 3 grams and a 9mm in their pocket. Europeans with cryptids. What
sake.
whimsical creatures. Let's invite them in for tea. Thank you. We'd love some tea. Let us celebrate. Americans with cryptids. This is the last forest you're haunting, you son of a... I'm gonna smash your corpse when I'm done. Europeans, when you ask them what they know about America. When you realize that the US is technically older than the UK. Europeans, when they see...
The US is... Oh, it is, really.
When you realize...
I mean, it is, because the United Kingdom's... I mean, it's nowhere near as old at all, because Northern Ireland joined... I spoke about this the other day, like, probably 60 or so years ago. It's true. You got us there.
That the US is technically older than the UK. Europeans, when they see an American minding their own business. We are intellectually superior in every way. Europeans,
fuck's
strict
sake.
gun laws. Americans, when Europeans find out that they created the American. No. Americans microwaving their tea. Britons drinking instant coffee.
That is instant jail time, I'm sorry, man. I understand, but I don't understand at the same time.
Europeans, let's make memes about Americans. That'll show them. Americans, I'm sorry. Who are you again? Brits making fun of Americans for using feet. Also Brits when they use stones for weight. When you are British and your American friend says, let's play football, but then they bring an ellipse-shaped ball. I am a bit confused. The beginning of the American Revolution. You owe me like $1. You'll have to kill me for it. We're experiencing heavy snow. Massive snowstorm. Duh, more vodka. Looks like spring, eh? When I see British citizens mocking the president, I just remember that in 100 years, they went from ruling 1/4 of the world to living on an island the size of Michigan. So this
Is that the size of Michigan? Damn. Gone downhill, man.
is an American translator for what Americans say and what it means. I'm afraid of Americans. This is super real. Let's get coffee sometime means goodbye, I like you. Or let's stay in touch means goodbye, I don't like you that much. Today I learned Americans call a knob of butter a stick of butter. Wait, we call it a knob too. Who the hell calls it? We call it a knob. What? Those Americans are terrible with all of their shootings that happen. Meanwhile in Europe, Americans, when you tell them,
Oh, was that a knife? Yep. Michael Myers.
European isn't a country. Confused, Oonga Boonga. American drivers
Oonga
trying
boonga.
to navigate the narrow streets of an old European city. How Europeans think Americans get to work. Literally true. POV. 0.2 seconds after arriving in the USA. Americans. Why do
Fuck's
Europeans
sake.
think they're better than us? Europeans. USA. France, help me.
Facts.
France. Can't, I'm broke. It's against the British. France. What are Europe and America's views
Fuck's
on
sake.
gun safety? Europe says guns should be highly controlled and used only by responsible adults. America says if their age is on the clock, then they can use a Glock. How
Fucking hell.
Americans see US.
That's a good little rhyme, though.
America says if their age is
Age on the clock, they can use a
on
Glock.
the clock, then they can use a Glock. How
Oh, I've got Homelander, man. I can't lie. I don't like superhero films whatsoever, but The Boys and Homelander, unreal, man.
Americans see USA versus USA in reality. Olive
Fair.
oil Europe versus butter Europe. Europe every couple decades. Father, I crave violence. Aliens visiting the United States versus aliens visiting Eastern Europe. Driving directions in Europe, 1922. Drives on the left, drives on the right. Mixed. Mixed. Average
What?
USA hospital
Wait,
visit.
what?
This is horrible. This man has no insurance. I'm on it, doctor. They pushed him off. They killed him. Australian arrested in Australia. Australian arrested in Europe.
Upside
European
down.
arrested in Australia. Toilet in Europe versus toilet in
Fuck's
India.
sake.
Versus Amber Heard's toilet. Speed cameras anywhere else. Speed cameras in Eastern Europe. How Americans see Europe. It's too far away. We can't. Americans simply cannot conceive of how gloomy Europe
Is this like sunlight? I think this might be to do with like sunlight. Yeah, annual means total sunshine hours. Wait, northern. It makes sense. It makes sense actually. Northern America gets more sunlight, but it's kind of crazy when that's the case. But then the south is the really hot part. The UK is blue. I mean, it doesn't show the time for the UK, but yeah, makes you realise.
is. Wow, so UK is horrible. Let's go. At 19 years old in America. Can I buy a bottle of vodka?
I mean, to be
USA?
fair, in the summer, it's probably like dark by about 10:30. 10:50. I'd say about 9:40, 9:50. It's like still bluish, but obviously the sun's setting and stuff. And it's probably bright at what, like 4:30? Like in the summer, it's not bad. It's in the winter that is terrible.
No, that's illegal and irresponsible. Can I go $50,000 in debt for education? We encourage it. American Impossible Challenge. Americans tried to name this country challenge. Impossible.
Fuck's sake. I mean, that's just part of France, isn't it?
American Impossible Challenge. Americans
Oh no, it's not. It's literally just actually the ocean here. They've just added something.
tried to name this country challenge. Impossible. Americans literally have no banter. I don't know what country this is coming from, but we've probably beaten you in a war at some point. I'm American. Civil War. America. I'll kick anyone's butt. I'll kick your butt. I'll kick your dog's butt too. I'll even kick my own butt. Remember that time it got so hot in some parts of Australia? The bottoms of people's thongs were literally melting to the asphalt. And people still ask me why I hate summer. For Americans reading this post, a thong is a flip-flop. A flip-flop.
I was actually not thinking about flip-flops, I'm going to be honest.
Oh. Racism in Europe versus racism in America. Europeans memeing on Americans. Europeans being memed on.
See, it goes both ways. You can do it to yourself, but when someone else does it to you, it's not funny, man.
By Americans. Anti-curfew riots in the Netherlands. America. Europe, Netherlands. Dude, you're embarrassing me in front of the Americans. Europe is better because we have social benefits. That's only possible because the US rebuilt Europe. So
Facts.
the evolution of cars for USA, Germany, and Russia. 100 years in the future. USA Michigan versus Norway. How the rest of the world sees the USA. Los Angeles. What? Disney World. Yeehaw. New York. Being bilingual in America versus being bilingual in Europe. I thought it would be the opposite. No, it has to be, right? It's the opposite. Europe's so good they made a sequel. History books. History books if Europe had natural resources. Salesman. Slaps
true.
USA. You can fit so many idiots in this bad boy. Hunting in Mexico versus hunting in Australia versus hunting in USA. Everything's better with explosives.
What
I've
the
always
fuck?
scoffed at those. OMG, Europe is tiny post. But we just took the wrong exit driving back to our cabin and we literally ended up in Norway and decided to just stay for dinner. So yeah, this just happened again. There isn't even a sign that says welcome to Norway. You're just there all of a sudden. I could miss an exit and still stay in my state for another 8 hours. Americans, cricket is a dumb game. USA wins one match. Americans, oh mercy me. I keep forgetting.
Is that to do with the Cricket World Cup? Because that's where the US, they beat like Pakistan or something, I think. And then I just saw that was going everywhere. But I think then the US, I think England then beat the US, didn't they? Come on. I don't actually follow cricket. I just saw, just popped up in my news. I don't actually care. If the US beat England, I wouldn't care, man, but he didn't, so.
Game. USA wins one match. Americans. Oh, mercy me. I keep forgetting I'm in the colonies. My favorite post. Please tell me that people in Britain actually call the USA the colonies. We call you the colonies. We don't call you the colonies.
Don't
Europeans. I drove 40 minutes to the Netherlands for some groceries and then popped into Germany to see some of my relatives before driving back home. Americans. I was in Florida. I drove for 9 hours. Now I'm still in Florida. I have a deep respect for Scotland because I was at an Ireland versus Scotland football match and their chant was, "We hate England more than you." One time at a Germany versus Scotland game, some German fans started the "Stand up if you hate England" chant, and the whole stadium stood up. What did we do? What didn't we do? Does this mean that England is the US of Europe? Where do you think the US got it from?
I said this so many times. England is flipping hated.
Go for a walk. The scenery will cheer you up. People in Eastern Europe. USA. We're going to make a League of Nations. Europe. And you're going to join it, right? USA. You're going to join it, right? But mom. Can someone translate this? I don't know British. I'll do my best. Ahem. Hey, yo, ma. It's mum, not mum. It's chips, not crisps. It's fries, not chips. It's colour, not colour. It's soccer, not football. Wrong.
It's
Why
football,
is it
not
cancelled
rugby.
in the UK, but cancelled in America? Oh, I actually know the answer to this one. American newspaper ads charged by the letter, so a lot of people would eliminate unnecessary letters like the second L in cancelled or the U in colour. Some of these spelling changes were used so often that they stuck, and now Americans just spell some words
I don't know if this is going to be true or not. I don't think it is true, but it sounds like a good excuse.
differently. In summary, Americans spell things weird because of capitalism. Another
If that's true, that's mad.
weird Australia fact. We are the only country that ever cancelled a boat race due to the lake being wet. Please elaborate. The Henley on Todd is a screw you boat race made to poke fun at the English's Henley on Thames.
Come
The Todd
on.
River is dry most of the time, and as a result, it hosts the only dry river regatta. Behold,
Oh.
the chaos. UK. Everything the light touches is our kingdom. USA. Colonies. But what about that shadowy place? You must never go there. Americans. Talking smack to the US. Other Americans. Yeah, we suck. Europeans. Talk smack about the US. Americans. America. Europeans. Universal healthcare. Americans. Europeans asking Americans where Wasplakshazvestovich is. Europeans when Americans ask where Nebraska is. British cheddar versus American cheddar. Europeans arriving in NYC, wondering why the homeless dude pooping in a 7-Eleven cup wasn't included in their pamphlet.
What? This was not included? Nice addition, though.
Europeans, when someone mentions American healthcare, you'd rather spend taxes on guns than healthcare? Laughs in public healthcare. How Europe sees USA versus how USA sees.
Oh, here we go. McDonald's, Rose, Desert, Cowboy, Georgia, but the country of Georgia. Is that Connecticut? Wait, Connecticut. Fair. California. And now you got IKEA. England, I mean, I guess it just labelled the whole of the UK and Ireland as England. I'll take that as an Englishman. Spain, France, Northern Africa, Athene, Australia. Wait, what's Australia got to do with this? I'm so confused. Ex-USSR, Russia, yeah. And then is that Texas? And then Jesus.
Sees Europe.
the
Yeah,
fuck?
I'm glad we are just England. That's nice. I think Americans have spent long enough making fun of British accent. We need to stop making fun of our own accent. Americans be eating crayon berries. Americans be paying $20 for a crate of water bottles. Buddies. Americans offered two choices. They have no real preference between the like 24 matter. I don't think American
That one didn't hit as well.
filmmakers realize how
Like, yeah, I don't think it really works like that. You're trying. The first one was good. That was just... You're just trying to make fun of the accent and nothing really stuck.
huge London is. Because you sure have the London Eye and Houses of Parliament, but when you say London has fallen, what? So the Nando's in Catford is in flames. The Tesco in Peckham has descended into chaos. We have states bigger than your entire country. Europe, but without the... Guys, you're literally killing me. Well, thanks whoever made this meme.
Europe, but without the cringe. It's just a little bit of Turkey. Flipping hell.
Japan, the USA, fighting in Europe, fighting in Africa. The State Department nailed my girl's passport. Want to know just how big Texas really is? This is actually mind-blowing. I don't get it. That's Europe inside Texas. Texas isn't...
Fuck's sake. Oh, so it's Africa inside of Australia. But I love it because people would have seen it and 100% taken it as like they would have believed it. Fuck's
actually
sake.
that huge, is it? France, United Kingdom relations. England, screw you. France, screw you. History of the Middle East, history of Europe, history of USA. History of USA is like a DLC of Europe history. Why divide people by unrational things when you could divide them by whether their word for cotton candy is valid or not? Examples: American English, cotton candy, good. British English, no, we don't call it fairy floss, we just call it candy floss, and that is valid. Spanish and German, sugar cotton, good. French, daddy's beard, not valid. I'm sorry, the French call it what?
Wait, British English, who calls it fairy floss? It's candy floss. Who calls it fairy floss? Come on now, don't lie.
Cotton, good. French, daddy's beard, not valid. I'm sorry, the French call it what? Americans, explaining why they don't want free healthcare, because they get to skip the waiting times. Europeans with identical insurance at a fraction of the cost, because it has to compete with the free one. Napoleon wants money for war with England. Thomas Jefferson wants to purchase Louisiana. British bank offers to lend Thomas the money. Thomas Jefferson borrows the money and buys Louisiana. Declares war on Britain with the Louisiana money. We can do both metric and imperial measurements. It's not difficult at all. Europeans, making fun of Americans for using imperial measurement. Americans running the 100-meter dash, buying liters of soda, grams of drugs, and kilos of other drugs. British versus American. Favorite, and spelled very incorrectly by the American. Prince Harry officially renounces British residency. Lists US as his new country on document. A literal British monarch changing his alliance to the United States. We've never been more back. Afternoon.
never been more
Hey,
back.
how are you? Fine, how about you? I'm good. You're from Maine? I'm rotated in Europe right now, so the 1900 miles away threw me off. Where's that? Maine or Europe? Europe. Where the hell is that? It's across the ocean.
Oh.
The USA shouldn't police the world. Totally agree. That includes removing troops in Europe, letting Europe defend itself. But I won't be able to afford all of my social policies then, because increased military spending. Wait, why are these memes like on America's side? I'm British! No! Forget this meme, it never existed.
Oh man, it's always good fun. It's always good fun. I was born in America, but now I live in Deutschland, Germany, and I'm not exactly sure which side I'm supposed to be on. 612. As an American, I can confirm all of this except fine. Fine can mean anything from good to tolerable. That's to do with like the coffee thing.
Bye,
Right?
I don't like you.
Yeah. Wait, what actually is it? Awesome, fabulous, amazing, great. Okay, yeah. I mean, I think okay is universal for shit. You're feeling shit, or I'm feeling alright. It's the same as okay. I'm not too bad. You're not feeling good, man. I can relate to that. We Canadians would never make fun of another country. Okay. Hopefully you enjoyed this reaction. Hopefully you had a little laugh at this and you didn't take it too serious. You know, this is always just a bit of fun. But yeah, until next time, like, subscribe, and peace.